The ship shook like a leaf in a storm. Captain Mira Kim gripped her chair as sparks flew from the control panels around her. The bridge filled with smoke and the smell of burning metal. "Engine 3 is dead," shouted Hana Lee from her station. The chief engineer's hands moved fast over her controls, trying to save their ship. "Engine 4 is failing too." Mira looked at the main screen. The planet below them grew larger by the second. Its red surface looked angry and dangerous. This was not how their mission was supposed to end. "Can you give me anything, Hana?" Mira asked. Her voice stayed calm even though fear filled her heart. The crew of the New Soul needed their captain to be strong. "I'm trying," Hana said. Sweat ran down her face. "The fuel lines are broken. I can't fix them in time." June Park, the communications officer, turned from his station. His young face was pale with worry. "Captain, I'm sending out emergency signals. But we're too far from Earth. No one will hear us for weeks." Tae Shin, the medical officer, checked his equipment. "Medical bay is ready for crash landing," he said. His voice was steady like always. Even in danger, Tae thought of helping others. First dot, the ship dropped through the planet's atmosphere like a falling rock. The hull began to glow red from the heat. Warning sounds filled the air from every direction. "All hands prepare for emergency landing," Mira announced over the ship's speakers. "Find something to hold on to. This is going to be rough." Wu Jin, the security chief, strapped himself into his seat. "Should have stayed on Earth," he said with a bitter laugh. "Space exploration is for crazy people." So Young, the team's xenobiologist, looked excited even in their deadly situation. "Captain, look at the surface scans. This planet has life signs. Big ones, really big ones." "Focus on not dying first," Minho said from the pilot's seat. The young pilot fought with the controls, trying to find a safe place to crash. "I can see a flat area ahead. It's our best chance." The New Soul hit the planet's surface hard. The sound was like thunder mixed with breaking glass. The ship bounced twice, then slid across the red dirt for what felt like forever. Metal screamed against rock. Parts of the ship broke off and flew in all directions. When everything finally stopped, silence filled the air. It was the kind of quiet that hurt your ears after so much noise. Mira opened her eyes. Blood ran down her forehead, but she was alive. She looked around the bridge. Some of her crew moved slowly. Others did not move at all. "Sound off," she called out. "Who's still with me?" "Here," said Wu Jin. He had a cut on his arm but seemed okay. "I'm alive," So Young said. She pushed broken glass off her lap. Minho groaned from his seat. "My leg hurts, but I can walk." Mira waited for more voices. None came. "Hana?" she called. No answer. "June, Tae." She got up slowly and walked to Hana's station. Her friend lay very still. Mira checked for a pulse, but found nothing. Hana Lee, who had saved their ship so many times before, was gone. June Park was slumped over his communications panel. The young man who always had a joke ready would never laugh again. Tae Shin, who had helped so many people, could not help himself now. Mira felt her heart break into pieces. These were not just her crew members. They were her friends. They had eaten meals together, shared stories, and dreamed of the day they would return to Earth as heroes. "Captain," Wu Jin's voice brought her back to the present. "We need to check on the others." The ship carried 50 people when it left Earth. Now only 23 were still breathing. Half of their people were gone in just a few terrible minutes. Survivors worked together to get out of the broken ship. The planet's air was thin but safe to breathe. The red soil felt strange under their feet. 2 suns hung in the purple sky, making everything look like a bad dream. "We need shelter," Mira said. She tried to sound like a captain, but her voice shook. "The ship's hull is cracked. It won't protect us from the weather." So Young pointed to a large hill nearby. That formation looked stable. We could set up camp at the base. The hill was huge, bigger than any mountain Mira had ever seen. Its surface looked like it was made of crystal and metal mixed together. Strange lights moved under its surface like slow lightning. "It's beautiful," said one of the younger crew members. "It's alien," Wu Jin said with suspicion. "We don't know. If it's safe." "Nothing is safe here," Mira replied. "But we need somewhere to put our dead and care for our wounded." They spent the rest of the day moving supplies and injured people to the base of the Crystal Hill. The work was hard and sad. Every trip back to the ship reminded them of friends who would never see another sunrise. As the twin suns set, they dug graves in the red soil. Mira stood over the holes where they would bury Hannah, June, and Tay. The Crystal Hill rose above them, like a silent guardian. "They died doing what they loved," she said to the gathered survivors, "exploring new worlds and pushing the edges of human knowledge. We will remember them always." They lowered their friends into the ground at the base of the great hill. The soil felt soft and warm, almost alive. Mira placed simple markers made from ship metal over each grave. That night, as they sat around a small fire, the Crystal Hill began to glow softly. Colors moved through it like oil on water. It was beautiful and frightening at the same time. "Do you think it knows we're here?" asked one of the crew. So Young watched the lights with wonder. "I think it's been here for a very long time. Longer than we can imagine." Mira looked up at the massive structure. They had buried their friends beneath it without asking permission. They had crashed on this world like unwelcome visitors. But they had nowhere else to go. "Tomorrow we start building a life here," she said. "Until rescue comes, this is home." She did not know that the hill was alive. She did not know it was slowly waking up. She did not know that her choice to bury her friends in its shadow would soon test everything she believed about right and wrong. The Crystal Hill pulsed gently through the night, like a great heart beginning to beat again after a long sleep. 3 months had passed since the crash. The survivors of the New Soul had learned to live on the strange red planet. They built simple shelters from the ship's metal pieces. They found water in underground streams and grew food in small gardens. Mira visited the graves every morning. She would sit by the 3 markers and tell her dead friends about their progress. Sometimes she asked them for advice. The Crystal Hill behind the graves had become part of their daily life, a silent giant that watched over their small camp. "Good morning, Hannah," she said on this particular day. "We fixed the water pump yesterday. You would be proud of how we did it." She touched the metal marker. "June, we still haven't heard from Earth, but Minho thinks our signal is getting stronger." She moved to the 3rd grave. "Tay, everyone is staying healthy. Your medical supplies are helping us a lot." As she spoke, the ground began to shake slightly. At first, Mira thought it was just the wind, but the shaking grew stronger. Small rocks rolled down from the Crystal Hill. The lights inside the hill pulsed faster than before. "Captain," Wu Jin called from the camp, "you need to see this." Mira ran back to where the others were gathered. So Young stood in front of a computer screen, her eyes wide with excitement and fear. "The hill is moving," So Young said. "Not just the lights, the whole structure is shifting. Look at these readings." The screen showed wave patterns like a heartbeat. But the heart would have to be bigger than a city block. The patterns were getting stronger every day. "It's waking up," So Young whispered. "The crystal formation isn't just a hill, it's alive." "That's impossible," Wu Jin said. But even as he spoke, another tremor shook the ground. This time, they could see the hill's surface ripple like water. Minho limped over on his still healing leg. "If that thing is alive, what does it want? And why is it waking up now?" So Young had spent months studying the hill with her equipment. "I think our presence here triggered something. The ship's fuel has been leaking into the soil. Maybe the creature is reacting to the chemicals." "Creature?" Wu Jin's voice got hard. You're talking about that hill like it's an animal. It might be, So Young said. My scans show neural pathways running through the entire structure. It has something like a brain, but spread out through the whole body. Another tremor hit, stronger than before. This time, the ground near the graves cracked open. Mira watched in horror as the crack spread right through the burial site. The metal markers tilted and fell as the earth shifted. No, she whispered, then louder, no. She ran to the graves, but it was too late. The ground had opened up, and she could see the disturbed soil where her friends lay. Their final resting place was being destroyed by the awakening giant. This is not right, she said, her hands shaking with anger. They deserve to rest in peace. Wu Jin put his hand on his weapon. Maybe we should kill it before it fully wakes up. Who knows what it might do to us? We can't kill something that big, Minho said. Look at it, it's the size of a mountain. So Young was still studying her readings. Wait, she said. Something's wrong. The creature's life signs are getting weaker, not stronger. What do you mean? Mira asked. It's not just waking up. It's dying. So Young's voice was full of worry. The chemical readings from our ship's fuel show high toxicity levels. We're poisoning it. The group stood in silence. The creature that had disturbed their friends' graves was being killed by their presence. The irony was not lost on any of them. So our crashed ship is slowly killing this thing? Minho asked. Yes, the fuel leak is spreading through the soil. The creature absorbs nutrients from the ground. It's taking in poison instead of food. As if to prove her point, the hill pulsed with a sickly yellow light. The tremors became irregular, like a heart with an unsteady beat. Good, Wu Jin said coldly. It destroyed our friends' graves. Let it die. But if it dies, what happens to the planet? So Young asked. My readings show this creature is connected to the entire ecosystem. Plants, animals, even the weather patterns seem to respond to its biorhythms. Are you saying if it dies, everything dies? Mira asked. I'm saying it's possible. This creature might be the heart of this world. Over the next few days, So Young's prediction began to come true. Plants around their camp started to wither. The air became harder to breathe. Storm clouds gathered in the sky for the first time. Since they had arrived, the Crystal Hills' lights grew dimmer each day. The tremors became weaker, but more erratic. Sometimes the ground would shake violently for a few seconds, then stop completely for hours. Mira spent more time at the disturbed graves. The cracks in the earth had grown wider. She could no longer pretend her friends were resting peacefully. Every day, she had to look at the broken ground and remember her loss all over again. What would you do? She asked the graves. This thing destroyed your resting place. But if we let it die, everyone else might die too. The wind picked up, carrying the smell of dying plants. In the distance, she could see their small garden turning brown. The water from the underground streams tasted bitter now. Captain, So Young called from her equipment. I'm picking up something new. The creature is trying to communicate. Mira walked over to where So Young was working with a strange device that translated bioelectric signals into patterns they could understand. What is it saying? Mira asked. So Young listened to the device with headphones, then looked up with tears in her eyes. It's saying sorry. Over and over again. It's apologizing. For what? For disturbing the dead. It knows what it did. It never meant to hurt anything. It was just trying to survive the poison we brought here. Mira felt her anger shake inside her chest. How could she hate something that was saying sorry? How could she want revenge against something that was dying because of them? But when she looked at the broken graves, the anger came back. Her friends deserved better than this. The storm clouds grew darker overhead. The first drops of acid rain began to fall. The storms came every day now. The rain burned like acid, eating holes in their metal shelters. The survivors had to stay inside most of the time, watching their world slowly die through small windows. The crystal hill grew dimmer each day. Its once bright lights now flickered like a dying fire. The creature's heartbeat, which they could feel through the ground, became weak and irregular. Mira stood at the broken graves despite the dangerous rain. She wore protective clothing, but her heart felt more exposed than ever. The cracks in the earth had grown so wide she could see pieces of her friends' burial shrouds. "Look what it did to you," she whispered to the graves. "Even in death, you can't find peace." The anger inside her had grown like a cancer over the past weeks. Every time she saw the disturbed soil, every time the ground shook and made the damage worse, her rage got stronger. Behind her, she heard footsteps. So Young approached carefully, holding an umbrella against the acid rain. "Captain, you shouldn't be out here. The rain is getting worse." "My friends are out here," Mira said without turning around. "Someone should be with them." So Young stood beside her for a moment, looking at the broken graves. "The creature's brain activity is almost gone. Maybe another week, and it will be completely dead." "Good," Mira said. But the word felt wrong in her mouth. "The ecosystem collapse is speeding up. We've lost 60% of the plant life. The water table is dropping. Even if rescue ships come, they might not find a planet worth landing on." Mira finally turned to face So Young. "Are you asking me to save the thing that did this? I'm asking you to think about what Hana, June, and Tay would want you to do." The words hit Mira like a punch. She had been so focused on her anger that she had forgotten to think about her friends as real people with their own beliefs and values. "That's not fair," Mira said. "Isn't it? You knew them better than anyone. What would they say if they were here?" Mira closed her eyes and tried to remember her friends as they lived, not as they died. Hana, who always tried to fix things instead of throwing them away. June, who believed every living thing deserved a chance. Tay, who had dedicated his life to healing instead of hurting. "They would want me to help," she admitted quietly. "The creature is still trying to communicate. It keeps apologizing. But now it's also asking for forgiveness. How do you know?" So Young pulled out her translation device. "Listen." The device made soft sounds like whale songs mixed with wind chimes. But somehow, Mira could understand the meaning behind the sounds. Sadness, regret, a plea for understanding. It never wanted to hurt anyone, So Young said. It was sleeping for centuries until our ship's chemicals woke it up. It's been in pain this whole time, slowly dying from the poison we brought. Myra looked back at the graves, but it still destroyed their resting place. By accident, it was convulsing from the poison. Like someone having a seizure, it couldn't control its movements. The rain got heavier. They had to run back to the shelter or risk serious burns from the acid dot inside. The other survivors were gathered around Minho's communication equipment. He looked up when Mira and So Young entered. "I've got good news and bad news," Minho said. "The good news is our emergency beacon is finally working at full power. I made contact with a rescue ship." "That's wonderful," Myra said. "What's the bad news?" "They're 3 weeks away, and they're not sure they can land safely with all these storms." Wu Jin looked up from cleaning his weapon. 3 weeks. Can we last that long? If the ecosystem keeps collapsing at this rate, there might not be breathable air in 3 weeks, So Young said. "So what are our options?" asked another survivor. "We can try to save the creature," So Young said. "If we neutralize the poison in the soil, it might recover. And if it recovers, the planet might heal. Or we can let it die and hope we survive until rescue," Wu Jin added. "Why risk our lives for something that isn't even human?" The group argued for hours. Some wanted to help the creature. Others thought it was too dangerous. A few didn't care. Either way, and just wanted to survive. But the decision was really Myra's to make. She was the captain. The others would follow her choice. That night, Mira couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about her friends. She imagined conversations with them, asking for their advice. In her mind, Hana said, "You know what the right thing to do is. You've always known." Imaginary June added, "We didn't explore space to be safe. We did it to discover new life. Well, here it is." And Tay, in her thoughts, said what he always said when faced with suffering. "First, do no harm. Then do what good you can." Mira got up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the dying hill in the distance. Its lights were barely visible now, like stars going out one by one. She thought about the creature's apologies. She thought about how it asked for forgiveness even as it was dying. She thought about how her friends would feel if they knew she let an intelligent being die out of revenge. "I'm sorry," she whispered to the grave she couldn't see in the darkness. "I'm sorry I was so angry I almost forgot who you really were." The next morning, Mira called the survivors together. "We're going to save it," she announced. Wu Jin stood up angry. "That thing destroyed our friends' graves. How can you protect it?" "Because that's what my friends would have wanted," Mira said. "Because it's the right thing to do. And because if we don't, we all die anyway. How do we even begin to save something that big?" Minho asked. So Young had been working on this problem for days. "We use the ship's power core to create a neutralizing agent. We inject it directly into the creature's system. But someone has to go inside the creature to deliver it." "Inside?" "The creature has internal pathways, like blood vessels. Someone has to carry the neutralizing agent to its heart." "That's suicide," Wu Jin said. "Maybe," So Young admitted. "But it's our only chance." Mira looked around at the group. These people had trusted her to lead them across space. Now she was asking them to risk everything to save an alien creature that had disturbed their friends' graves. "I'll go," she said. "It should be me." Outside, thunder rolled across the dying planet. Time was running out for all of them. The work began before dawn. So Young and the remaining engineers spent 2 days turning the ship's power core into a massive neutralizing device. It was dangerous work. One mistake could cause an explosion that would kill everyone. "Are you sure this will work?" Mayra asked as she watched them connect the final wires. "I'm sure the theory is correct," So Young said. "The neutralizing agent should break down the toxic chemicals in the creature's system. But I've never tried it on something this big before." The device looked like a metal backpack with tubes and wires coming out of it. It was heavy and awkward. But Mira would have to carry it deep inside the creature's body. "The internal pathways are like caves," So Young explained. "My scans show they connect to a central chamber that works like a heart. That's where you need to inject the agent." "How will I find my way?" "The creature has been communicating with us more clearly as it gets weaker. It says it will guide you. But Mira, once you go inside, we might lose communication. You'll be on your own." Wu Jin had been quiet during the preparations, but now he spoke up. "This is insane. We're risking our captain's life for something that might not even work." "It will work," Mira said with more confidence than she felt. "It has to." Min Ho checked his communication equipment one more time. "The rescue ship is still 2 weeks away. If we're going to do this, it has to be now. The creature's life signs are critical." Mayra put on the heavy device and tested the straps. The weight made her back ache, but she could carry it. She had to. "There's something else," she said to the group. "I want to take something with me." She walked to the broken graves and picked up 3 small pieces of metal from the original markers. Each piece was about the size of her hand, with her friend's names scratched into the surface. "Memorial stones," she explained. "If I'm going into the creature's heart, I want to take part of Hana, June, and Tay with me. Maybe it will help the creature understand why this is so hard for us." So Young wiped tears from her eyes. "They would like that." The entrance to the creature's internal pathways was a crack in the hill that had opened during the recent tremors. It glowed with a soft blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. "Remember," So Young said, "follow the larger pathways. They lead toward the center. The creature says it will try to guide you, but its communication is very weak now." Mira stood at the entrance and looked back at her team. These people had followed her across the galaxy. They had survived a crash that killed half their friends. Now they were watching her walk into the body of an alien creature that might be dying. "If I don't come back," she said, "tell the rescue ship what we tried to do here. Tell them we chose to help instead of hate." "You'll come back," Minho said. "Firmly, you have to. We still need our captain." Mira smiled and stepped into the glowing crack. Inside, the creature was like walking through a living cave. The walls pulsed with soft light, and she could feel the slow heartbeat through her feet. The air was warm and humid, like breathing inside someone's lungs. The pathways were bigger than So Young had predicted. Mira could stand up straight and walk normally. The floor felt soft, almost spongy, like walking on thick carpet. As she moved deeper, she began to hear something like whispers, not voices exactly, but sounds that felt like communication. The creature was trying to talk to her. "I'm here too. Help," she said out loud, feeling a little silly. "I know you're sick because of us. I'm going to try to make you better." The whispers got stronger, and somehow Mira understood them. Gratitude, surprise, and something that felt like hope. The pathways branched off in different directions, but Mira always chose the larger tunnel. The creature's heartbeat got louder as she went deeper. Sometimes the walls would pulse brighter, as if showing her the right way to go. After what felt like hours, Mira reached a vast chamber. The ceiling was so high she couldn't see it in the soft light. In the center of the chamber was a massive structure that looked like a heart made of crystal and metal. It beat slowly, each pulse sending light through tubes that connected to the walls. "This is it," Mira whispered. "The heart of the mountain." She could feel the creature's weakness here. The heartbeat was irregular, and the light was dim. Dark veins ran through the crystal heart, showing where the poison had spread. Mira set up the neutralizing device and connected the injection tube to the largest vein she could find. The creature's whispers filled the chamber, and she understood them clearly now. "Thank you," the creature was saying. "I never meant to hurt your friends. I am sorry for disturbing their rest." "I know," Mira said, tears running down her face. "I forgive you. We all forgive you." She pulled out the 3 memorial stones and placed them on the crystal heart. "These are for Hana, June, and Tay. They were good people who would have wanted to help you too." The creature's response was overwhelming. Mira felt its memories flooding through her mind. She saw the planet as it used to be, full of life and beauty. She saw other species that had lived here before, some that the creature had helped, others that had hurt it and died out. She saw how the creature had slept for centuries, waiting for the planet to heal from past damage. She felt its confusion and pain when the toxic chemicals woke it up. She understood its desperate attempts to survive, even though those attempts had disturbed the graves. In return, Mira shared her own memories. She showed the creature who her friends had been. Their kindness, their curiosity, their dedication to exploring and understanding new worlds. She let the creature feel her grief, but also her love for the people she had lost. "They would have liked you," she said. "If they could have met you properly, they would have been your friends." The creature's gratitude was like warm sunlight, filling her mind. Mira activated the neutralizing device. The machine hummed to life, and bright blue liquid began flowing through the injection tube into the creature's heart. The effect was immediate. The dark veins began to fade as the antidote spread through the creature's system. The heartbeat grew stronger and more regular. The light in the chamber became brighter, but something was wrong. Mira felt pain shooting through her body. The neutralizing Process was hurting the creature, and it was sharing that pain with her. "Hold on," she whispered, gripping the memorial stones. "We can get through this together." The pain got worse. Mira fell to her knees, but she kept her hand on the device, making sure it kept working. She thought about her friends and what they would say if they could see her now. They would be proud, she realized. They would be proud that she chose to save a life, instead of seeking revenge. The neutralizing device finished its work with a final surge of blue light. The creature's heart beat strong and steady now. The dark veins were completely gone. Mira collapsed, exhausted but alive. Around her, the chamber filled with the most beautiful light she had ever seen. When Mira woke up, she was lying on soft grass under a clear blue sky. For a moment, she thought she was dreaming. The last thing she remembered was collapsing in the creature's heart chamber. She sat up and looked around. She was still inside the creature, but the chamber had changed completely. What used to be crystal walls were now covered with plants and flowers. Sunlight streamed down from somewhere high above, even though she was deep underground. The creature's heart still beat in the center of the chamber, but now it looked like a beautiful fountain made of living crystal. Water flowed from it in gentle streams, feeding the garden that had grown around it. "You are awake," a voice said inside her mind. It was the creature, but now its communication was clear and strong. "I was worried the healing process had hurt you too much." "I'm okay," Myra said, getting to her feet. "Are you better now?" "Yes, the poison is gone from my system. I feel strong again for the first time in months. Thank you for saving my life." Myra looked around the beautiful garden. "How long was I unconscious?" 3 days. "Your friends have been very worried. They can hear me communicating with them now that I am healthy. I have been telling them you are safe. I should get back to them." "Yes, but first, I want to show you something." The creature guided Mira through the garden to a special area near the heart fountain. There, growing in the richest soil, were 3 trees unlike anything she had ever seen. Their trunks were silver like metal, but they were clearly alive. Their leaves glowed with soft light, and flowers bloomed from their branches in the shapes of human faces. Mira gasped when she recognized the faces. "Hannah, June, and Tay. I absorbed their memory patterns from the memorial stones you brought," the creature explained. "They are part of me now, but in a good way. Their minds, their personalities, their love for you and each other. It all lives on in these trees." Myra reached out to touch the tree that bore Hannah's face in its flowers. She could swear she felt her friend's presence, warm and comforting. "Are they really here?" she asked. "In a way, yes. Their bodies are gone, but the patterns that made them who they were are preserved in my memory. They can think and feel through me. Would you like to speak with them?" Myra's heart pounded. "Is that possible?" "Hello, Captain," a familiar voice said in her mind. It was Hannah, sounding exactly as she had in life. "We've been watching you be brave. We're so proud of what you did." "Myra," came June's voice, full of his usual warmth. "You saved not just this creature, but this whole world. That's the best memorial we could ask for." "We never doubted you would do the right thing," Tay added gently. "You always do, even when it's hard." Tears streamed down Myra's face. "I missed you so much. I was so angry when your graves were disturbed. I almost let that anger make me do something terrible. But you didn't," Hannah said. "You chose compassion over revenge. You chose to heal instead of hurt. That's who you are, Mira." "And now we get to be part of something amazing," June said with excitement. "This creature has memories going back thousands of years. We're learning about civilizations that existed before humans even left Earth. We're not really dead," Tay explained. "We're different, but we're still us, and we'll be here as long as this planet exists." Mira spent an hour talking with her friends through the creature. They told her about the wonders they had seen in the creature's ancient memories. They assured her they were happy and at peace. "You need to go back to the others now," Hana finally said. "But know that we're always here if you need us. The creature will take care of you." Mira asked. "We're taking care of each other," June replied. "It's like we're all part of one big family now." The creature guided Mira back through its pathways, which were now lined with glowing plants instead of empty crystal. When she emerged from the entrance crack, she found her team waiting anxiously. "Captain," Minho shouted, running toward her, "you're alive." "We were about to send a rescue team in after you." The storm stopped, So Young said, pointing to the clear sky. As soon as the creature's life signs stabilized, the weather cleared up. "The plants are growing again. The water tastes clean." Wu Jin looked embarrassed. "I owe you an apology, Captain. And I owe the creature one too. You were right to save it." Over the next few days, the planet transformed. Plants that had been dying came back to life. New flowers bloomed everywhere. The air became sweet and clean. Even the red soil changed, becoming rich and dark. But the most amazing change was at the burial site. Where the graves had been cracked and broken, there was now a beautiful garden. Crystal trees grew there, their branches forming perfect arches over 3 glowing pools of water. "It's a memorial garden," So Young explained. "The creature grew it specifically to honor Hana, June, and Tae. It says their graves will never be disturbed again." The pools reflected the faces of her friends, smiling and peaceful. Sometimes Mira could swear she heard their laughter on the wind. When the rescue ship finally arrived, they found the survivors living in harmony with their alien host. The ship's captain was amazed by what he saw. "We expected to find a barely habitable world," he said. "Instead, we find paradise." "It wasn't always like this," Mira explained. "We almost lost everything because we didn't understand each other. But sometimes the hardest choice is the right choice." As they prepared to leave, Mira stood one last time in the memorial garden. The creature's voice whispered in her mind. "Thank you for teaching me about human love and forgiveness. I will tend this garden forever in memory of your friends. Thank you for showing me that some things are worth saving, even when they hurt us," Mira replied. She placed her hand on the crystal trunk of Hana's tree and felt her friend's presence one more time. "Take care of yourself, Captain," Hana's voice said softly. "And remember, we're always with you." As the rescue ship lifted off from the planet's surface, Mira looked down at the world they were leaving behind. The memorial garden glowed like a beacon in the landscape, visible even from space. She had come to this planet as a crash survivor, angry and broken by loss. She was leaving as someone who had learned that the greatest act of humanity was not strength or revenge, but the choice to save a life that had hurt you. The crystal trees would grow for thousands of years, tended by an ancient creature who had learned about love from a human captain. And somewhere in those glowing branches, 3 friends would live on, their memory preserved in an alien garden that bloomed between the stars. Mira smiled as the planet grew smaller below them. Her friends were right where they belonged, in a place where they would never be forgotten and never be alone. Some bonds, she realized, were stronger than death. Some choices echo across the universe. And sometimes, the hardest decision you can make is also the most human thing you can do. The memorial garden pulsed gently in the distance, a living testament to the power of forgiveness and the courage to choose compassion over revenge.